Welcome to the Good Life Agoura Hills podcast. Join us each month as we discuss important city projects, programs, and initiatives with the community. We appreciate your support and thank you for tuning in.
Hello, Agoura Hills. I'm your host, Ramiro Adeva, and your Assistant City Manager. All right, our guest today is a renowned leader in the community, has been with his current employer since 2006, and in his current position since 2012. Like I mentioned, he is a leader, and he's also a dear friend of the city. We're grateful that he took the time out of his busy day to be with us here today. So without further ado, it gives me the great honor and pleasure to announce our guest today, the Superintendent of the Las Virgenes Unified School District, Dr. Dan Stepenosky. Put it together, let's go.
Wow. Wow. Agoura Hills, giving it up.
Dan, thank you so much for being here, buddy.
I feel the love, I feel the energy.
All right, I appreciate you being here, man. You know, it's always a pleasure when Dan and I get together. I always feel like this warm vibe, and it's always great, and I'm happy to be able to be here today with you so we can, talk to the community a little bit in Agoura Hills and really just kind of have a conversation on many different topics for them.
It'll be a lot of fun. Honor and pleasure to be here.
Awesome. I think what I'd like to do for this episode is start with you. I think that, I've known you since obviously you came to the district, and you come with a very, great experiences. But ever since day one that you've been here, I know that your impact has been positively felt by the community. So I'd kind of like to get a little perspective of you and maybe your journey to becoming the superintendent of our great school district. And also, what does the role of being a superintendent entail for LVUSD?
So a little bit, my background, I'm born and raised in Philadelphia. Went to Villanova University, was a physics major, and went there on a Navy scholarship, ROTC, which is Reserve Officer Training Corps. And spent 4.5 years in the Navy out of San Diego on a destroyer and a cruiser. Got lots of Navy stories. Let me know how many you want to hear. And that was a great experience. The travel was amazing. The camaraderie was amazing. Serving the country was amazing. My brother is still in the Navy. He's a captain in the medical corps for U.S. Navy, so he's still a part of that. And I keep up to speed with the U.S. Navy through him. Then got out of the Navy and got my teaching credential and was a AP Physics and Astronomy teacher at Beverly Hills High School. And then the principal, youngest principal ever actually in Beverly Hills High School history. And then came here in 2006 to be Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources. And then most recently, 2012, now my 11th year as Superintendent, and was picked as LA County Superintendent of the Year last year. So that was crazy.
See what a big deal we got? Go on. Congratulations.
But it's the community. It's a great community. It's great cities. It's great partnership, great support, and that's the residents, the community love that. They love when we're all working as a team to support them.
All right. Well, let's go into a little bit about the district itself. Can you give the people at home a perspective on the size of the district? Maybe how many students are part of the district, and just what the areas that the district covers.
Sure. We are 90 square miles. Most of it is unincorporated territory, actually. 4 cities, of course, Agoura Hills, Westlake Village, Calabasas, and Hidden Hills. And the district is coming up on 60 years old now. We were initially, as you've got some of the pictures back here, we were initially 4 elementary school districts. There was Las Virgenes, there was Calabasas, there was Liberty, and Cornell. And you've got Cornell right there, which is in the city of Agoura Hills. Yeah. That building still stands. I believe it's a home now. So you had 4 elementary school districts, small, and then they sent their high schoolers to Canoga Park, which is not close. Yeah. I can't imagine driving from Westlake to Canoga. And then Alice Stell, who we named our newest middle school after, Her husband was instrumental in founding the water district. Her husband worked closely with Governor Reagan at the time to work on water policy up and down the state. Alice is an amazing woman. I think we need to do a book or a movie on her at some point. She almost ran for Congress against Barry Goldwater. I mean, she's just a force of nature. I got a chance to meet her several times, and really an incredible woman. So she said, we need to become our own school district, and people said, you're crazy. And she ran a special election and lost by 4 votes. And then she pulled her friends together. Literally, she told me they passed around a hat, collected $25 to run a special election. And we know special elections aren't $25 anymore.
Yeah, a little bit more.
They're like $200,000. She collected 25. She launched a newspaper, the Calabasas Enterprise, or the Enterprise. So she launched a newspaper to promote the unification effort, and then the second time around passed by 4 votes. And here we are. I mean, at the time, El Unified was a world-class school, and people thought we don't need high schools. But when the election passed, the state and county said, okay, you've got 1 year to build the high school. So we had to get Agoura High done in 1 year, and we did. And in a phenomenal school, part of a great cities and great community.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history. Here we are.
Well, I think I can confidently say this on behalf of our whole community, that we are glad that LVUSD does exist. And obviously it just continues to reach new heights every year, it feels like. So that's awesome. And I think it's also remarkable to think about that reach that you mentioned, how the coverage over the different cities and the importance and really the sensitivities that go behind, and the complexities really that go behind managing an organization that's got so many different constituents from different places. So again, just a testament to you. And I feel like the selfish part of me does have to give a shout out to the Agoura Hills schools. So, 𝘢𝘷𝘢𝘦𝘢, go Bobcats. We've got obviously Willow, Sumac, Mariposa all holding down the elementary front. We've got Lindero Middle School, and of course, the Agoura High Chargers. So, kudos to all of you out there.
You crushed it.
We love you guys.
Look at
right?
that.
You see that?
A+.
Right? Yes, I'm up there. Is that an AP class? Get some AP credits?
Absolutely.
All right, awesome. All right, so we kind of briefly talked about, the different agencies, the reach of the district, how important that relationship or that partnership is to have with the different cities. One thing that I think, and again, this goes back to the fact that the district is just such a high-performing entity. I think something that's very impressive is that in the entire state, right? We're not talking just like the region. We're talking the state of California. Las Virgenes Unified School District ranks in the top 2% of the state. And when you say that and you realize how vast, how large, how populated the state of California is, that's really a big deal. And I don't want to overlook that fact. So for the people at home, could you kind of maybe go through what exactly that means to be able to say, hey, LVUSD is in the top 2% of the state?
Well, there's over 1,000 school districts in the state of California, so that's awesome, a wonderful honor. And that's based upon a lot of different things, which are exciting. We did receive, an Environmental Green Award from the state of California. We also are part of the Advanced Placement Honor Roll across actually that's an international award. And districts get that when they increase the number of students taking advanced placement scores, increase the number of underrepresented populations, and increase the score. That's a trifecta, right? Because you've increased your number of students, you've increased your underrepresented populations, and your scores go up. That's the kind of stuff that gets me, really excited. We also take standardized scores, and those get compared, amongst ourselves, amongst our schools. We look at the data, disaggregate it, and then, those get reported to the state of California and ranked as well. So, it's great students, it's great staff, all working hard together, really.
Could you give a perspective on the foundation? I know that there are some events that take place every single year, because I think it's important for the community to understand sort of the details that go behind that dynamic, so that they can better see how to support it in the future.
Yeah, the foundation's a tremendous group of all volunteers. Mark Madnick is the president right now, Vice President Monica Parmar, and they just pour their heart and soul into it. And the community is such an important word, and they fundraise for us, which is huge, of course, but they also help create that sense of community. We've got 16 different schools across 4 different cities and 90 square miles. So they have 2 signature events, 2 high-profile events. The event, of course, is their largest fundraiser, and that happens in the city of Calabasas. And then they've got the carnival. And so they're, one's spring and one's fall, and they really just bring, everyone together. The carnival's a lot of fun. You see it from the 101. They have the giant Ferris wheel all lit up at night, very intentional. And folks come from, Thousand Oaks and Ventura, and then of course LA City, and it's just a blast. And Mike, I've been bringing my kids to it for years, and we were there Friday night with my son and wife and I, and it was a blast. And the fundraising is terrific, but really the sense of community, seeing the kids together, they're all heading out and talking to each other and being there, and the families, and the beer and wine garden is nice also.
Yeah. Let's keep it real.
For the adults,
yeah,
it's a nice place to visit and take a break in the heat. So the foundation's phenomenal. They've brought in about $1.5 million. They are the only agency that can hire certificated teachers for us. They are focused on lowering class sizes, and they're a great partner. And if you've got time and energy and passion, think about joining them and being a part of their great work.
I think that's great, and I can speak from personal experience, having been to both of those. The event, amazing. It's an amazing event, but also the carnival. My daughter this year went to 2 out of the 3 days. But it's amazing, and that's the beauty of it. Like you said, it's family environment, it's community, it's all of us kind of getting together, being with our loved ones and experiencing just a joyous occasion. So again, it's a great time. So June and September of every year, mark your calendars down for the months ahead, so that the next time you see this in 2023, you make it a point to go. I was recently at a League of California Cities conference, and one of the keynote speakers works for, I believe, the Public Policy Institute of California. And I won't get into all the super details of the sort of the inspirational speech she gave, but one topic that she did talk about was a statistic that she threw up that talked about the need to increase the numbers of students that we have that not only go to but complete college. But if you could speak to that experience and maybe give some perspective as to why LVUSD continues to perform very well in terms of college matriculation.
One of the things I'm most proud about is just being innovative and trying new and exciting things and seeing what works. And not everything works. College and career, success, that's a driver for what we do. So we've tried 3 different things, and they've all been super successful. First off, at Agoura High School, we have the center. The center is named because it's literally in the middle of campus. And we know not all kids fit into one learning model, right? We just need to give options. No district in this state, pound for pound, has as many options as we have. So we'll just talk about college and career for a second, then we can talk about other options. So we have the center. The center is a hybrid learning environment where you can go and do all of your coursework online and be in that space that looks like a Starbucks, real relaxed, comfortable, nice seating, with support of credentialed teachers in that space all day long. Or you can do a hybrid. You can be in some classes, sports, performing arts, clubs, and some online. And so it really allows students to pace themselves. And so if a student falls behind a little, they'll go in there, maybe get online entirely, catch up, and then go back into classes, band, jazz band, sports, anything they want to be a part of. That, in my 27 years in education, the foundation or creation of the center has reduced our DNF list the most. That's students getting Ds and Fs. And it's been a phenomenal boost for getting folks into junior colleges and 4-year schools or launching into the career. That's number 1. Number 2, we restructured our counseling. So we used to have 6 counselors who we divided up the alphabet with. We said, there's 3 things. This is maybe a long answer, sorry.
No, I love it.
There's 3 things counselors do, right? There's the social emotional piece, there's the academic piece, and there's the college and career piece. Those are 3 vastly different things. Social emotional coming out of a pandemic is, that is a huge piece of keeping students successful. They're going through challenges, they're isolated, they're concerned, parents are divorced, maybe there's, parents don't have jobs at home. All kinds of, life happens to all of us, right? The college and career piece, how much has college admissions changed even since the pandemic? Most schools dropped the SAT. Right. So that is such a dynamic environment, if you want to go to a JC or a 4-year. And then finally the academic piece, getting in the right classes, support in your classes. So we now have specific requirements for each of those. We have LMFTs, licensed therapists who do our social, do our wellness and emotional counseling. We have certificated academic counselors who have what's called a PPS. They're specifically credentialed to do that piece. And then there's certificated folks on the college and career piece. So they're all different positions, all different job descriptions, 6 different folks in 3 different job categories. So we have counselors who can specifically identify and work with students on college and career. They're bringing colleges from across the country onto campus: Villanova, Harvard, Yale, Cal, UCLA, SMU, TCU, you name it. So that's, piece number 2. The final piece, which is also really exciting, we started the Early College Academy. And this is targeted towards first-gen students. And you can begin taking college classes in middle school at Lindero Canyon. You can leave high school with an AA. We've partnered with local colleges. Moorpark and Pierce are our main partners. We've even brought college professors on campus, and it's just awesome. It gives them experience. They go visit schools, they tour the UCs, they tour the Cal States, and it's been a phenomenal program, an award-winning program, and cutting-edge program, and really just helping kids. We don't want kids to show up senior year and say, "Oh, time to think about college." Right. If they can start thinking about it in middle school or even freshman year, we love it, and not stress. There are so many paths to success. It's not where you go, it's what you do when you get there. You can be amazing at Northridge and Pepperdine and Moorpark, and you can be amazing at UCLA and Berkeley.
One of the things that caught my eye as to one of the specific points that was made was that you've been very committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that is something that's obviously very big in society nowadays, and DEI, the whole topic. And so what I would like to do is get your perspective on the conscious efforts that LVUSD has done in the realm of DEI, and what's the plan to sort of continue the progress in this regard?
Sure. There are, being a child, or a teenager, it's challenging. The world is complex. There's a lot going on. And we've seen our country go through a lot, and so we want to help our students process, what they're seeing, and ultimately be, excellent citizens. So we've done a couple things. We have a diversity, equity, inclusion coordinator, Courtney Peoples. She's amazing. You can access her anytime you'd want. She does lessons. She works with our staff to build up their capacity to make sure we are reaching out and connecting with all of our students. She's just an inspirational person. So it's great to have her. We adopted social justice standards for our entire school district. And that happened in the middle of the pandemic. We were busy. We were focused on reopening, we were focused on supporting our students, but we also knew we were going to come out of it at some point, and what kind of things did our students and staff need, and the staff and students were super grateful to have that in place. And so that helped, it's the teaching tolerance frameworks, and so that's been amazing. We've brought in guest speakers like Juliet 𝘧𝘧𝘧𝘠. She was at Agoura High School doing some of the talks in person before the pandemic. We did some virtual, and she had some great books growing up with black and white parents, and her experience through her schooling, and she's just an amazing speaker. And then most recently, we have a social justice class at both schools, Calabasas and Agoura. And that's really to create ambassadors that can go out and support their classmates with strengths finders is one of the techniques they use. So students who are empowered to talk to other students and help them process these issues. Now, we hear a lot about blaming and shaming. We don't believe in blaming and shaming. We don't do that. We don't do that to our students, first of all. We need to be honest with our history as a country, be direct about it, be compassionate and kind about it, but we don't blame our students for anything. They're just joining us on this voyage. Blaming and shaming doesn't work if you're trying to, reduce tobacco or vape use. It just doesn't work, doesn't deal with, doesn't solve more complex social issues either. So we support our students, we meet them where they are, and we work to lift everyone up. Big part of what we try to do.
I think that's awesome. And again, thank you for recognizing that, we're all different. We all have varied backgrounds. And I think that's just more of a, humanity type thing, just recognizing those differences, embracing them, and finding out how that how the schools can be set up in a way that really embraces that, puts people in a comfortable environment so they can learn the best and then become better citizens in the future. So that's awesome. All right, so this next one, this is a difficult one. I think that, and the parent side of me, I have to kind of suppress the emotions that come with it, right? And I think a lot of us, kind of get into that. The violence that we sometimes see in schools, right? It's historically it's been so tragic and horrific every single time. Dating all the way back, you go to Columbine, you go to Sandy Hook, obviously Robb Elementary now in Uvalde, and all of these, these very difficult situations that are hard to deal with as a society, as a country. And so, when we look at our localized level, we get, some would say that we almost feel like we're in a little bubble, right? But those realities, there isn't a barrier that prevents those from realities from coming into LVUSD. And so to that, obviously that's got to be something that you all speak about very much internally. If you could share some of the insights onto, what the LVUSD has done to protect our children, whether it be a little bit better or increase safety. What are some of the measures and thoughts that go behind that?
All right, how much time do you have?
I know, right?
Lots of stuff here. So we've been super busy and leading in this area also. So our basic strategy is soft interiors, hard exteriors, right? So, and I did my doctoral dissertation at UCLA, go Bruins, on...
Can we just cut this part right now?
Go Bruins and go Bears, now they have a bear. So I did my doctoral dissertation on school shootings, and I visited Columbine and met with the staff and talked to them and, did everything I could to learn, from what they went through. When situations like Saugus High School, not far away, happened, we brought in a bunch of their administration and said, what did you do right and what could you do better and how can we learn from you? And they were great. I mean, no one wants to see this happen again. So the soft interiors is honestly the most important part. Counseling, school support, huge. What you don't want is you don't want students who are isolated. Whether you're a child or an adult, that's when bad things can happen, right? If you're isolated from your family, your community, your friends, your job, right? Same at school. So if a student becomes isolated, we want to make sure we do everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen and have interventions in place for them if it does happen. If a student's isolated, they can become depressed and they will most often think about hurting themselves. That's what keeps me up at night. And so we have to watch that very closely. Of course, hurting themselves or hurting others could be a part of the equation, which we have seen, in some of the school shootings. So we've ramped up counseling support. We've gone from 40% to full-time counselors at elementary schools. We've added just this year 2 counselors for our middle schools. We revamped our counseling support, like I described a few minutes ago, with LMFTs, actual licensed therapists, and specific categories of work at the high schools. We've got school psychologists. We launched the Counseling Center several years ago. A Counseling Center works with students from preschool through 12th grade, designed to open up at nighttime so families can come in. And that's an amazing resource, and those are licensed therapists at well. During the pandemic, families said to us, my kid's in crisis, but we can't get a therapist. Many, if you remember, left organized healthcare networks and worked on their own, worked from home, did it via Zoom, and took cash only. And they got to work their own hours, and that was terrific for them, but there was a tremendous crunch and need while people, struggled in a pandemic. So we actually went to Sunrise in Simi Valley and bought blocks of hours to make available through referral for our families. And so that was powerful. We've got apps that students can check in with. We've got anonymous tip lines where they can share. We want students to have a trusted adult they can go to. Anybody. Hey, Mr. Smith, I'm struggling. I think I need a little help. Or I'm worried about Sally. She may be struggling. And so that's everyone from the bus drivers. Every year we meet with the bus drivers and we say, look, you're the first adult and the last adult many of our students will see every day. If you see Johnny loquacious, chatty, talkative, has friends around him in September, in November he's sullen and by himself, let us know. We can reach out to him. We talk with our groundskeepers, cafeteria, aides, library, and of course our teachers and administrators. So we want students to have places, lots of places to go and get help. And so that's all about the soft interior, and super important. The other part of it is the hard exterior, which is people will see. Hopefully this part works. If a student struggles and we get them back on track, even if it's through the center, getting them back on track credit-wise, getting them thinking about the military career, or if they get them back on track, that's awesome, and they're successful. That'll never be on CNN, right? It'll never be on the news, but that's like the home run, and that's why educators get up every day, is that kind of thing. The hard exteriors is more outward-facing. Folks can see it. Just this summer alone, we spent $1 million in safety enhancements to our campuses. Probably over the last 18 months, we're probably at $2 million. We've got over 400 cameras. We've added gates to a number of our schools to manage access to the campuses. That's been very helpful. 𝘢𝘕𝘪𝘴𝘰𝘥𝘦, Willow, Agoura. Agoura is fenced off entirely for the first time ever in school history. So it's the campus access has probably been the biggest benefit there. And it's always exciting to try things and see unanticipated positive consequences. So we have Agoura gated, right? We can better manage who leaves lunch, right? Juniors and seniors all want to get off campus, right? Well, we have very tight criteria on your grades and your attendance. And so this is the greatest motivator. With a wide open 50-acre campus, it's pretty difficult to manage. But now we've got 2 access points in and out. So we've seen grades get better because juniors and seniors want to get off campus. So these are positives. We are piloting a camera system for our schools, Sumac and Lupin Elementary. So the front doors to our campuses would be locked, and people would ring like a ring type system, and parents love it, staff love it. Again, it's just an extra layer. When you deal with something as complex as school shootings, it's all about layers. There's no one single answer out there for us. And then the last thing we're working on is, again, we're really leading in this area. A lot of organizations are watching us. We'll have a lot more information to come, but we're working with a private organization to upgrade safety as well and bring in external safety specialists. One will be at each high school and one will rove for our middle schools. And so that's going to our school board September 13th, and we'll be able to share more information soon about that. And finally, we partner closely with the J team. That's the juvenile detective team with Lost Hills, Captain C2. She's a parent in Las Virgenes, so she's a great supporter of schools and public education. She understands school safety. She and I have done a lot of presentations together. So the J team has added a sergeant to the J team as well, Sergeant 𝘸𝘢𝘕𝘠𝑉𝑒𝐿𝑖𝑐. He's been terrific. He comes out to our schools. We're going to start off the year with a drill. Lockdown drills, which are different at elementary, different at high school, different at middle school. And he's going to supervise those, give us tips, pointers on how to improve. We've done, I could go on really for another hour. We've brought in external safety experts to do audits of our campus. And so they go, we don't know when they're going to arrive. They walk on anywhere, they go anywhere, and they just give us literally a 100-page report on how to improve the safety of our campuses. So we're excited by the things we've done, the positive intended and unintended consequences, and we'll continue to try things and innovate. And if they don't work, we shelve them, toss them. If they work, we implement and we share them with other districts in the area.
Yeah. Well, and thank you so much, Dan, for taking this topic so seriously, obviously, and and very much thankful for your commitment, the district's commitment to be involved. Both interior, exterior, like you mentioned. I think that it helps the community rest easy at home, easier, knowing that it's at the forefront of our leaders like yourself, and that our kids are in good hands. So thank you. The city is very much devoted and dedicated to being green, sustainable, right? We've got all parts of, we got so many programs and sort of initiatives going on that are moving in that regard. I'm interested to know, I know the district is also a big proponent of being sustainable. So if you could maybe give us enlighten us a little bit on that, that'd be great.
The biggest thing, if you're interested in, protecting the planet, Measure S is coming up, and it's a bond, and it would take almost all of our schools off the grid with solar. 13 million or so in solar, and schools are easy places to stand up solar. You get shade structures out of the solar, which we need, right? With increasing temperatures. With power outages, we want to be careful with wildfires and protect the community. We've all lived through Woolsey. Solar is the way to go, and solar is the way to help, ensure and maintain quality learning environments now that we're so much online in one-to-one, computer devices. So a lot of stuff out there.
Tell me a little bit about Measure S. So you did mention that, obviously, the ballot coming up in November. You mentioned that the solar components of it, is that solely what it's to be used for, or what's,
no,
give us some perspective on Measure S, if you could.
So yeah, Measure S is a bond effort, and so this is my pitch. I guess I go directly to the camera, right? I'm in the middle one, right? Parents, we need you to vote. Traditionally, parents don't vote. And I get it, I'm a parent, you're a parent, we're busy, saxophone lessons, soccer lessons, all the activities. Please get out and vote. Agoura Hills has been terrific in expanding voting opportunities. The election sites, I believe, open 11 days in advance.
That's right.
They definitely open 4 days in advance, so you can start voting Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. So we need parents to go vote. And there's a lot of important issues on the ballot. There's an election for city council in all of our cities. Westlake has one, Agoura Hills has one, Calabasas has one. There's a school board election. The governor's position will be on there as well. And so Measure S will be there as well. So parents, entire community, vote, vote, vote. It matters. Elections matter. So Measure S, the state does not give us funds for construction, right? And so we've got, we're the largest employer, the largest landowner in the region with our 16 schools on 15 campuses. Agoura High School being the biggest one at over 50 acres, a very big high school. So we don't get funds for construction or capital work, but we're 60 years old. So we need to take care of what we have, and we want to. And so we have 170 roofs that are leaking. We've got HVAC systems that are 50 and 60 years old. We've got plenty of pictures of them, and they are struggling in 105-degree heat. Right? We want the staff and students to be comfortable in their learning environments. And because they're 50 and 60 years old, they're not energy efficient. They're burning the kilowatts. And so we can put in much newer systems that have excellent technology that we can manage in a smarter fashion. Solar is a big part of it. But the core of it is really maintaining, fixing, upgrading what we have. We're not buying new schools, we're not building new schools, we're not expanding, we're not doing any of that. We're really just taking care of what we have. Now, it's a no tax rate increase bond, which is a huge part. Measure R was a bond that was passed by the voters in 1997, and that's falling off the books. So we're doing something Conejo Valley Unified did right next door. They had a bond fall off, and they simply replaced the bond. And so Measure S replaces R. So no one's tax bill will change at all. The only change will be you won't see the letter R, you'll see the letter S. That's it. Nothing else will change. So no one's taxes will go up. And that's important. We understand that reality for it. And so a lot of valuable projects on there. You can go to our website, 𝘬𝘳𝘪𝘴𝘰𝘥𝘦, for more information. This one matters, and I can't emphasize enough. Please vote for all of the reasons that I just mentioned.
Yeah, and I'm going to piggyback on that. Make sure you get out there, use your right to vote, have your voice heard, and that'll be just a little bit less than a month away. So make sure that you're heard. Community, the people. We have a very involved community that love their schools. If people want to get involved, how can the community become a part of just this great effort that LVUSD does on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, great schools are simple. It's great staff, phenomenal students, parent support, and community support. I mean, there's nothing magical about it. But it does take hard work to pull all those things together. So, yeah, volunteering is phenomenal. You can volunteer in your local PFA or PFC. That's parent, faculty, club, or association. They always need help. You can volunteer on when you get to the high school level. It's more boosters and activities. There's theater boosters, sports boosters, any of those kind of things. You can be a part of the foundation. We have a number of committees that we have community members sit on. We have a curriculum council, Measure G, and if and when Measure S passes, we'll have a citizen oversight there. And those are some parents, but The law requires some not be parents. We have accountants. So those are ways to be involved and ensure the funds are being spent appropriately. And then, of course, your involvement with your cities as well. There's lots of commissions, committees and commissions you all have, planning commissions, that kind of thing, environmental stewardship. Be involved in those things. My daughter served on the board for the Agoura Hills Calabasas Community Center. So the city runs advertisements in the Acorn, and there's a representative from Agoura and from Calabasas. So, run for office also. We've got a lot of candidates for school board and city council. So the good news is, local, hometown, small cities, small school district, we're all here, we're all neighbors. Lots of ways to be involved and be a part of the great things that are happening here.
I love it. All right, last question for you. Looking ahead, 2023, what big things can the community expect from LVUSD?
Oh gosh, the most exciting is something called UTK. Do you know what UTK is?
I don't.
Oh wow, all right, we're breaking some news here. That's Universal Transition Kindergarten. We are basically adding a grade to public schools. So it's no longer kinder through 12th grade. It's no longer 5-year-olds through 18-year-olds. UTK is 4-year-olds. We're expanding, we're adding a grade level, which will be 4-year-olds. It's called UTK, Universal Transition Kindergarten. So we started that this year. The state is allowing for a 5-year phase-in. We're hoping and planning to do it faster than that. But each of our schools has one UTK classroom right now. We've got a wait list also. The response from the community has been terrific. And because they're 4-year-olds, there's their own curriculum, own specific instructional approach, own credential. You actually need a specific credential. So to teach elementary school, you need a multi-subject credential, but you need something in addition to that to teach 4-year-olds. So we're working hard. We're leading the area. We just got a $2 million grant from the state to work on the credentialing side of it. We have 15 school districts in one county involved. We're the only public school district in the state of California that is recognized by the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. That's the only agency that credentials teachers. And we have our own credentialing program, and we're able to provide that UTK brand new authorization. So 10 months from now, you're going to hear about, a universal transition kindergarten teacher shortage. But we're not going to, because we've got our own credentialing program rolling. So 4-year-olds are welcome on all of our campuses. 𝘬𝘗𝑠D.org for more information.
I love it.
How's that?
Missed me, but I love it. For all the the young families that are coming into Agoura Hills, there you go, a program right for you. And it's just another example of how the district continues to reinvent itself and create new opportunities for the community. So we thank you for that. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So appreciative of you for taking the time. I mean, we've got it. It's a lot, but you know what? There's a lot going on. And I hope that you, the community, has felt that this has been worthwhile and very informational for you all. I encourage you to keep tuning in, and if you have any questions, send them over to City Hall. But again, thank you so much to our amazing crew. Thank you so much to our amazing guests, and thank you to the viewers at home, whether you're viewing it, listening to it in your car. We invite you back. Keep coming back. You're why we do this. So without further ado, thank you once again, Dr. Dan Stepenosky, for taking the time. And you know the drill. Keep living the good life.
Right here in Agoura Hills.
Thanks so much, Freddie. Appreciate that.
Join us next month for episode 5 of The Good Life Agoura Hills podcast, where we'll discuss public safety in our city with Captain C2 of the Lost Hills Sheriff Station.